Hey guys, how you doing? Luna here with a new video for the channel. Welcome back to another review finally. When was the last time we did a review on this channel? It's been fucking months. Today is a really special review because the wonderful, amazing, and out of this fucking planet pop duo Sparks has delivered a new album called The Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, which is the album we'll be reviewing today. I myself was really excited for this record, not precisely because Sparks is one of my favorite bands or anything like that. Actually, I do enjoy quite a few of their albums, especially Came Out of My House, an album from 1973 or 74. But the reason why I was really looking forward to this album is because with Sparks, even though, you know, they're usually a hit or miss band, sometimes their creativeness and their quirkiness at the time of writing music goes against them. Something that you can always hope for when it comes to Sparks is an interesting album, something that's not going to be boring, something that's going to have a lot of things to talk about, and that is exactly what they delivered with this album. The first thing that I can say about this album is that this is definitely one of the most fun releases they've had in a while. You know, the constant shift of ideas and, you know, tempos in this album is amazing. How even though sometimes the instrumentals can be quite dramatic or emotional, the fun and almost satirical performance from Russell is amazing. Because that's the thing with this band, you know, even though sometimes they talk about themes and, you know, concepts that are quite depressing or thought-provoking, they always approach it with this a tone of, I don't know, satire that makes the whole thing so much more enjoyable, while at the same time you do understand the you know what they're talking about. One of the best examples in this album is Nothing Is As Good As They Say It Is, where basically you know, it kind of paints the picture of a child that wants to go back in her mother's womb because the world is not as he was promised. But the tone of the song again is not all that serious, you know. It's again a fun, playful rock tune that I really enjoy, and I think it's one of the highlights of this album. But this doesn't really mean that you're gonna find yourself with a comedy of an album, you know, that there's nothing serious about it. That's not the case at all. The album does have a lot of hard-hitting and aggressive moments throughout, you know, the entire runtime. For example, Love Story, which is a really intense, distorted, and just really fast-paced song that goes really well with the style of the album. Also, you have the Mona Lisa's Packing, Living Late Tonight, which is another aggressive and really hard-hitting tune. The opening track, you know, the title track also, the Girl Is Crying in Her Latte, it's another example of how they use distorted instrumentals in this satirical performance that, you know, leaves you in this confused state where you find a really heavy instrumental, but it seems like the performer, Russell, is not taking himself or the track seriously. And that somehow works. It works really well. It's really enjoyable, or at least I find this combination really enjoyable. The lyrics in this album are really repetitive and simplistic. I mean, they're weird. Most of the times I couldn't really understand what they were talking about, which is one of the main reasons why I'm not going to really talk about the lyrics in this video. It was really hard for me to understand the vast majority of concepts in this album, okay? The instrumentals in this album are by far the best thing. They're fucking amazing. They're often theatrical and so hard-hitting. For example, the use of the violin and, you know, string arrangements in this album is amazing. 10 out of 10 in my opinion. For example, in the track We Go Dancing, it's wonderful how they create this sort of like tension or claustrophobic properties and just add it onto the track. You know, it makes you feel like it's impossible to perform in a track like this. It feels like just an instrumental, but then Russell comes in and makes it work, which is one of the best properties of, you know, not only the album but the entire discography of these band. And it's just the incredible chemistry these two guys have when it comes to writing music. It's like they each have like the, you know, their own idea of what they want to do with their album, and somehow they make it work. They pack it together. That doesn't really mean that this album only has like this theatrical and cinematic instrumentals or heavy-hitting instrumentals and that's it. No, you also have a lot of beautiful instrumentals. For example, the track You Were Meant For Me, which is in my opinion one of the best tracks, if not the best track from the album. The way that the track begins with those distorted, I don't know if they're synths or vocals, it sounds like vocals, I don't know, and then Russell comes in with his beautiful echoed shiny vocals that work so well inside the track. With that being said, I did enjoy the album a lot. I know I'm giving the album a lot of praise, but there are more than a few things that I didn't like. For example, there are obviously a huge gap between the best songs on the album and the worst songs on the album. You know, there's definitely a huge difference when it comes to the quality of the tracks. Sometimes the melodies are just not it. I have to be honest, most of the instrumentals, you know, in this album are amazing. 10 out of 10, as I said before. But I do understand that a lot of the instrumentals, due to their distorted and glitchy nature, it's not easy to perform on. But that's not really an excuse. The fact that the instrumentals outperform the melodies is never really a good thing, and that's something that happens in this album quite a lot, to be honest. And it's even more obvious when these tracks are right next to each other, because, for example, you have the track When You Leave, which is one of the most boring and ugly tracks of the album, honestly. I didn't like that track so much. The instrumental's not that bad. A lot of rock going on in that instrumental, but the melody and the vocal performance, I just didn't like it. You know, it's so ugly and it doesn't match the track at all. I just didn't really enjoy that track, honestly. And then you have Take Me For A Ride that starts with this, you know, bells at the beginning, so mysterious and so enigmatic, and then all of a sudden Russell starts singing in this fast-paced and claustrophobic nature that it's so stressful, but in a good way. You know, it makes you be at the edge of your seat because you don't even know if Russell's going to be able to catch up to the instrumental at some points. It's just saying so many things and singing in such a uncomfortable way, and that makes it a good track. It's exciting, it's interesting. Then you have It's Sunny Today, which again, the instrumental has a beautiful string arrangement. I really do enjoy the instrumental. I think it's really cinematic. It's the kind of thing you would see in a movie trailer, but the vocals are just too effortless. They don't really try to match the beauty and majesticness of the instrumental. I like when both the melody, the vocals, and the instrumental are as good as each other. You know, I don't like when one outperforms the other, and that doesn't necessarily mean that Russell was supposed to sing in this high-pitched, you know, hitting those high notes or anything like that. No, I'm just saying you need to find something as interesting or that matches the energy of the track, and I think that in only some of the songs in this album, it didn't quite make it. To put it simple, I really did enjoy a lot this album. I think it's one of the most interesting releases this year. It's true that I was kind of disappointed in some tracks. You know, I think this album could have been much more. And, you know, that maybe, given it a bit more time, this album could have been a 10 out of 10 for me, because it really had all the things to be a 10. It gives you that feeling that you don't really know what to expect from the next track, and that's something that I really appreciate when I'm listening to an album. And overall, it was just a really interesting project. But because of the lack of energy when it comes to the performance in some of these tracks, when it comes to how a lot of the times the melody of the track didn't really quite match the energy of the instrumental, that takes away a few points when it comes to my personal opinion out of this album, okay? So yeah, I'm kind of feeling an 8 to this one. That'll be it for today's video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other videos that I upload. Please remember that this is only my personal opinion, so if you have your own, and I'm pretty sure you do, leave it down below in the comments and I'll make sure to check it out. With that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again soon in a new video. But until then, bye.